What is up everyone, and welcome to a brand new season of F1 22 My Team Career Mode. We're coming off the back of a double World Championship winning season in which we won the Constructors with a few races to go and the Drivers' Championship on the final race of the season. We beat out Lando Norris to claim the title in Abu Dhabi, and yeah, it was a very fun season. Probably not as fun as Season 4, I would say, where we were going blow for blow with Charles Leclerc all season long. But yeah, a lot has changed. We are red now instead of green. We do still have some of the green involved there, but yeah, we've undergone a bit of a rebrand, as it were. We have a brand new teammate in Alex Albon, which is because no matter how much money I offered Piastri, he did not want to come back. But I'm sure he'll land on his feet somewhere, and we'll find out exactly what. Perez has retired from the sport, so yeah, it still remains to be seen who is going to be taking up that spot. You'll find out in a little while, and yeah, I am just very excited to get into this series. We got to pick a rival to start with, and Leclerc was closest in the championship of the options that I was given. He came third in the end last season, so he's definitely who I think I would pick, although I would like to have picked Norris if possible, but the game didn't give me the option. And yeah, we'll see what the battle is going to be this season, who we're going to be up against, what storylines are going to emerge, if any. And other than that, yeah, we have a new engine supplier. We're now being supplied engines by Ferrari after I think it was 4 years with Mercedes. We finally cut ties with them, and yeah, we are now ready to get into the first race weekend, which as always is Bahrain. I haven't dropped that one yet, although at some point in the future, I think you know, if there is a race that would go, I feel like Bahrain is one of the less memorable ones that has been on the calendar every year, so maybe that's one we could get rid of. But yeah, now it's time for the big guns. Who is on the grid this year, and where are they? So the first one that you can see, Piastri, has gone to Williams Racing, and Gasly is the driver who is back at Red Bull. So he is having his sort of redemption arc, I guess you could say. Magnussen has filled Gasly's seat at AlphaTauri, and Latifi has filled his seat at Aston Martin, and subsequently they've brought Enzo Fittipaldi back onto the grid after a couple years out. He has returned with Williams to partner another former teammate of mine, Oscar Piastri. So yeah, a few changes. They got an all-Canadian lineup at Aston Martin now. Piastri and Piastri and Fittipaldi at Williams, then Tsunoda and Magnussen are at AlphaTauri, and it's Verstappen and Gasly once again at Red Bull. This would be 8 years now after their initial partnership in 2019. Just to give you an idea of what's going on, you know, Verstappen at this point I think would be about 30, same with Pierre Gasly, they'd be about 30, 31 I reckon. So actually you know, a somewhat, I don't want to say old, but you know, a couple of drivers who are probably in their peak years at Red Bull rather than, you know, young drivers. That said, Verstappen still is only a one-time world champion at this stage. He won in 2021 because obviously that season is not in the game, but then 22 and 23 was Leclerc, 24 was Norris, and then the last two seasons, 25 and 26, have been myself. So we got out on track for the first time, and I have to say, I really did feel like I was struggling for pace around here. A circuit that I've gone well at in the past, I've won 2 times at. From practice alone, I really was not getting the impression that I was going to be doing that. So yeah, we've got a bit of work to do before we get into the next session, which is qualifying, obviously, and we'll see what kind of performances Albon can put up as well. I'm pretty excited to see what he can deliver in this new car. You know, he's had multiple podiums in a Williams, which never has really been up to scratch. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can deliver in the car that we've given him now. So yeah, we move into qualifying for the first time this season, and I'm on a fresh set of softs at the moment. Obviously, it's my first run, and we crossed the line to do a 1:27.5. We are currently being outperformed by Alonso and Gasly, although I would wage to say that we'll probably have a few more people outperforming us as the session goes on a little bit, so we're going to need to find a bit more improvement. And we actually find ourselves down in 18th, and we're only a couple tenths up, so I don't know if this is guaranteed that we're going to be getting out of Q1. We're down in 19th now, and we come up to the line. It's going to be a 1:27.2, and in the end, it puts us P14. So we do get through, but we still need to find a bit more pace if we want to make it through to Q3. Meanwhile, Albon, almost a second faster than me, he was fastest across the session, and it'll be interesting to see if he can repeat that in Q2 and maybe even in Q3. If he can get a pole in his first race of the team, I'll be very, very impressed. But there's a lot of work to do before we get to that point, and you know, it's his first race for the team, so I'm not gonna hold it against him if he doesn't manage that. But he does set the fastest lap as we come round the final few corners to try and get a time on the board on the used softs. We do a 1:27.4, which is actually a pretty good time for the used softs, and hopefully we can find a bit more improvement on the fresh softs that we're going to go out for our next run in Q2. And indeed, you can see that we are about 3 tenths up. I think we're going to be saving even more time around this corner. Yeah, so about 3.5 tenths we save over the course of the lap, and it's good enough for a 1:27.0, and that puts us P10. Wow, so it's very close, but we did make it through to Q3, and that is what is most essential here, I would say. As long as we're getting through to Q3 at this stage, I'm not going to be too disappointed, although there isn't much room for our car to develop. Both McLarens getting through, both Ferraris, both Mercedes, then Magnussen in the AlphaTauri. He's finally escaped the hellhole that is Aston Martin. Ocon in the Alpine outperforming his teammate, and then myself and Albon made it through in the Jags as well. But both Hasses are out, and actually both Bulls. I didn't realize about that, but yeah, both Bulls are out 14th and 15th in qualifying. Very very bizarre and disappointing result for them, I would say. Also, Gasly out qualifying Verstappen is another thing that is kind of surprising. So yeah, maybe the Red Bulls will be slightly off the pace this season compared to beforehand, but somehow I doubt that's going to be the case. We got on a used set of softs. We do a 1:27.3, and yeah, we actually had a fault at the beginning of the session. You can see there's only 4 minutes remaining in the session, so I'm going to have to really hustle my way back to the pits if I want to get out in time. And yeah, you're going to find out that on this fresh set of softs, I only have 4 seconds to get to the line, so that's not going to happen, and we end up qualifying no better than P10. I think we probably could have found a bit more pace, but yeah, unfortunately we didn't get the opportunity to run on a fresh set of softs to end things.
It's time to remind ourselves once again of our top 3: Norris, Ricciardo, and Carlos Sainz. With qualifying complete, all that remains now is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
Both McLarens getting a 1-2 in the first race. Meanwhile, we're down in 9th and 10th, and this season is looking like it might be a bit of a struggle at this stage if we have these kind of things. And not only is the season having a struggle, the game is also having a struggle, as myself and Leclerc enter ghost mode for this rivalry breakdown, and also Albon too. Yeah, just another weird F1 glitch. Fortunately, this doesn't... That's the only time this happens throughout the video. Otherwise, I probably would have just restarted my game or something like that in between quali and the race. But yeah, it doesn't affect any more than this. So that's all good. And yeah, you know, it's not looking fantastic from where we are, but hopefully we can make up a few positions. You know, it's quite easy to overtake here if you've got the pace, and I'm sure we'll be doing something wild on strategy as well. So yeah, I'm excited to see what we can muster up, and yeah, now it is time for us to get into the race.
No more testing, no more practice. This is the real deal, and it's make or break here at round 1 of this year's Formula One World Championship. We'll be racing around 3.36 miles of the magnificent Bahrain International Circuit today. Keep an eye out for drivers locking the front left down into the tricky braking zone of turn 10. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position. And P2 goes to Daniel Ricciardo, a strong showing from the Australian. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Ocon, George Russell and Leclerc, Joe, Magnussen, Albon and Robinson, Teo Pourchaire, Stroll, Pierre Gasly and Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, Mick Schumacher, Christian Lundgaard and Robert Schwartzman, Latifi, Tsunoda, Fernando Alonso, Enzo Fittipaldi. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? A new season then, a clean slate where anything could happen. Anthony Davidson is with me today as once again we get another year of Formula One underway.
We're into those tense few minutes before the first race then. Everyone's a little bit nervous about reliability. They haven't been running in the hot, turbulent wake of other cars in practice. And they've not been pushing at 100% for long durations. Let's hope no one has to deal with any nasty surprises.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
So we're running an alternative strategy. We're going to do 9 laps on the softs and 20 laps on the mediums. I think we should be able to make this work. This is the kind of strategy we usually do. And yeah, I'm taking a little bit of fuel out of the car. I'm not taking too much out because I don't want a repeat of what happened in Mexico. We're going to go +5 on fuel, and I think that should be absolutely fine to get us to the end. You know, I usually push quite hard, but I can't see a world in which I push +5 hard on fuel. Especially if we get a safety car or VSC, I think should be absolutely fine. So yeah, this should just hopefully give us a bit of an edge on the cars around us, and yeah, hopefully we can make up a few positions. You can see that everyone in front of us is starting on the medium compound tyre. Well, I say everyone. The cars immediately in front of us, at least. Albon, Magnussen, Joe, all of those guys are starting on the mediums. So I think we should be able to hopefully get ahead of them sooner rather than later. And yeah, I just hope that we can have a solid race. Ocon did amazingly to get 4th in that Alpine, which is not that strong of a car, I don't think. But we do need to be cognizant of some pressure behind from the Alphas and the Red Bulls and those guys as the lights come on. And the lights go out for the first time this season. And like I predicted, we did get a pretty good start. We've already got ourselves up ahead of Albon, and now we're going to go around the outside of Magnussen as well, and around the outside of quite a few people, but they've made me hand these positions back because they were illegal apparently, including the one on Magnussen, which I don't agree with. I think that was fair game, and in doing so we've actually had to concede the position to Verstappen as well. So we're back down at P10, but we are going for a bit of a dive bomb up the inside. I actually will admit that was because I wasn't paying attention and I saw I was about to go into the back of Verstappen, so I had to take evasive action, and in the end I turned, you know, lack of awareness into an overtake. So yeah, sorry Max, but that's the way it goes sometimes. And Albon has now made his way back past Verstappen as well and into P10. So we've got 2 cars in the points. I have a look up the inside of Magnussen, but he closes the door, so I have to take to the exit of the track, and as a result, we get our first warning of the race. Hopefully we'll be okay, won't get too many more of those. Last thing we want is a penalty, and then, you know, I'm sure you guys have all read that email from Mark that says something along the lines of, well, actually the last thing we want is a DNF, and that is true. But yeah, I would quite like to finish the race with no penalties if possible. So yeah, need to be careful not to get onto the onto the exit of the track, go over the track limits at all, and yeah, just try and make up a few more positions on the cars in front. You know, I think I still have probably the pace over these guys on the medium tyres, especially in an Alpha Tauri. I think it should be pretty trivial, I hope, but we do need to be aware of the fact that we're going to come under probably a little bit of pressure from the Red Bull of Max Verstappen behind, who has now got ahead of my teammate Alex Albon once again. And yeah, it's looking like he's going to have the run on me here as we come up the hill on the run to turn 4, and he goes up the inside. I'm going to try and sweep it back around the outside of him here, and yeah, this is a wheel-to-wheel battle on the second lap of the first race of the season. Pretty happy with that. You can see I actually go out a bit wide there, struggling for temperature in the tyres, I think, and yeah, we're all over the racetrack. That allows Verstappen through, but we are going to dive bomb him from a long way back, and yeah, all the while Magnussen braking further and further away. And Verstappen's coming back at me on the run down into turn 10. We go wheel to wheel. He has to give me the space there, and he just about does. and it actually allows me to get a slightly better exit. We do have a bit of damage, but I'm hoping that we should be able to persevere. It's only minor damage, and yeah, now I'm trying to go around the outside at turn 11 as well, and we actually make it happen on this occasion. So yeah, some pretty intense wheel-to-wheel battling between me and Verstappen to kick the season off. But we make our way up into P9 off the start, so it's not too bad. And now as we move on to lap 5, you can see we're still under pressure from Verstappen. By this point, actually, Albon had to pit due to some damage I think he picked up on lap 2. So yeah, unfortunate that I've had another teammate kick off a season this way, but hopefully once he sorts out the qualifying thing that plagued him this time around to only put him 9th, if he can start getting stronger quality performances, I'm sure he can probably start getting some stronger races. Now under attack from Schumacher, who's gone up the inside of me in that Haas there, and yeah, we're going wheel to wheel through turn 2 and 3, but it's me who's going to win out. And yeah, now we're running up the hill to try and make sure that we can be ahead into this more technical section where it's a bit more difficult to overtake. Lap 9 now, and a few cars coming into the pits, myself included, and we're going to be putting the medium tyres on to the end. We actually managed to make it the full distance this time on the soft tyres compared to what the strategy thought we'd be capable of doing. Quite often in years gone by, they've pit me maybe 1 or 2 laps early because I pushed quite hard on the tyres. This time we managed to make it work, so that's good to see. And yeah, sticking on the medium compound tyres to the end of the race. 20 laps to go. We'll see what we can do. And I think there is a driver up front. I think George Russell, who's had some kind of mechanical problem or something. So he's running a little bit slower than perhaps he would be normally. So I'm hoping that maybe we'll be able to catch him. Maybe get P8. And perhaps we'll be a little bit faster on this stint and can close down a couple of cars in front as well. This is Russell as well, having a bit of a spin on the exit of turn 4. It's not helping him out, and he could have definitely kept going there, but for some reason he chooses not to, and that allows quite a few drivers through the front 2 McLarens and Ferraris, both of them going through. And yeah, I'm still down in P9, but I'm hoping that will allow me to hopefully get ahead of Russell sooner rather than later. You can see that we're on the lap that it happened now, and you'll see that the gap goes down from 23 seconds all the way down to 8. So yeah, he's still got a pit. He started on the medium tyres, so we definitely have the opportunity to overtake him, hopefully. But you know, when you're under pressure from one Red Bull, you're under pressure from the other is not a saying that anyone has ever said before, but that's something that I have now just said, and it's true. Gasly closed me down by about 5 or 6 tenths that lap, and set the fastest lap of the race in the meantime. So he's gunning it pretty hard right now, and I think that our 9th place could be under pressure from him if we're not careful. Meanwhile, in the sister team, this is Yuki Tsunoda, who is retiring from the race, going a bit slowly. I think it's an engine failure, that Red Bull powertrain. It would be very nice if Gasly could suffer a similar fate, since you know, he's the one closing me down right now, and he's running the same engine as this guy. But yeah, I don't think that is going to happen, unfortunately, as Yuki Tsunoda becomes the first retirement of 2027, and well, who knows, maybe that will ring true in real life. Come back to this video in 4 years' time and ask me then who the first retirement of the season was in real life. I don't even know if Tsunoda will be on the grid by that point. It would be cool if he was, but you know, the world of Formula 1 is very cutthroat. Lap 16 now, and Gasly has done enough to catch up to us, and you know, I'm sure it will only be a matter of time before he gets ahead of us. He, like I said, was gaining by about 5 to 7 tenths per lap every lap, and just seems to have a significant amount of pace over me at this stage in time. So yeah, I'll just do everything I can to try and keep him behind, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do it for very long. Burning the battery through the DRS zone on the exit of turn 10, and it's not enough. Gasly gets ahead of us, and that's all it's going to be for this race, I'm sure. You know, we managed to get ahead of Russell through the pit stop phase, so we're up into P9 still. But you know, unless we can close down these guys in front, I'll try and use Gasly for as long as I can to drag me along. And now, as we make our way onto lap 20, you can see that Gasly has closed up to the back of Magnussen and Ocon, who are having a bit of a scrap. And I have followed Gasly the whole way through to catch up to these guys as well. But they might just be a little bit too far ahead, especially with the DRS, when we try and make an overtake on them at this stage in time. But we will we will keep an eye on this battle between them, see if they hold each other up so we can try and make the move on them at some stage. They go wheel to wheel, and that causes Gasly to go quite slowly, and I'm going to try and capitalise on that round the outside at turn 3, and now on the run up to turn 4 we've got the DRS burning a little bit of battery, and we're also going to try and go around the outside of Kevin Magnussen here. He's on the hard compound tyres and he's in an AlphaTauri, so he's a little bit slow, and that is a double overtake up into P7 in this race. So good recovery. Now we're going to set after Esteban Ocon, and yeah, I think that we should be able to catch him if our pace is to be believed. Indeed, 2 laps later, you can see we are hounding him right over the back of him, and with the DRS and the battery, I'd wage to say that this one is probably a foregone conclusion. All I want right now is Magnussen to hold up Gasly for as long as he possibly can, because the longer that he does this, the higher the likelihood I'll be finishing P6 in this race. And yeah, we now go around the outside at turn 1 of Esteban Ocon, and we'll have the DRS for the following DRS zone, so that means that we'll probably be comfortably making this move, I would say. And you can see that Joe is actually only, what, 3.5–4 seconds up the road, so I think there is a world in which we might be able to catch him before the end of the race, although the gap hasn't really come down over these couple laps, so I'm going to have to push quite hard if I want to close him up before the race is over. As we now move on to lap 25, only 5 more laps remaining in the race. And I don't know if the fuel situation is doing fantastic. I think we've only got about we're only about +1 on fuel at the moment, so we do need to be careful with that as well, and make sure that we don't run out of fuel before the end of the Grand Prix. Yeah, 5 laps of fuel remaining, like they said. So I think we should be okay, hopefully. But oh, actually, we might not have to worry about fuel because we might have bigger problems coming our way. That would be very disappointing after the recovery that we've put on from P10 up to P6. Lots of battles all throughout the race. For it to end like this would be bitterly disappointing. But unfortunately, as is often the case, you don't get a say in these things. So we'll see what happens. But I'm not super optimistic, and indeed you can see it is indeed an engine issue. I'm not sure whether that was as a result of some of the contact and the damage that I got earlier, or whether it was just completely spontaneous and random. But that decision to sign with Ferrari powertrains for this season, not working well on this first race of the season, as we pull off to the side of the track, and that is going to be us out of the race with no points. And yeah, very disappointing to end things that way. But that's Formula 1, that's how it goes sometimes, as Kimi Raikkonen would say. And yeah, we just have to strike back harder in Saudi Arabia, one of my favourite circuits on the calendar.
Smiling faces on the pit wall then after that superb win here at Sakir. And rightly so, a brilliant effort from the whole team. Well, Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today, but what set them apart from the rest?
I'd say it was down once again to good, consistent driving, nailing the corners, working to the track conditions and perfecting the team's strategies. They got all of these things right today, and the results speak for themselves.
Our winning drivers are on their way to the podium right now. It's been a fantastic race for McLaren, that's for sure. And no doubt, they'll be celebrating tonight.
It is indeed jubilations for our old rival Lando Norris. You know, he may have missed out last season while we were celebrating, but certainly today it will be us that will be going home scratching our heads, while there will be a big party in the McLaren delegation. Yeah, Leclerc on the podium as well. So lots of our rivals doing very well in this race, and we have to sort of go back to the drawing board and figure out what went wrong this time in Bahrain.
So let's review the drivers' standings. Some amazing talent out on the track today. But Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
Nicholas Latifi gets my vote today.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. McLaren supplant the previous leaders and take control of the championship. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport action. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
Albon actually did pretty well in the end after suffering that damage at the beginning of the race to come back and finish P11. He was only a 10th away from finishing ahead of Piastri as well, so he almost could have grabbed a point in his first race for us, but unfortunately it wasn't meant to be, as yeah, we have a lot left to do in in this season to make sure that we don't have a repeat of what just happened. I really I'm quite disappointed with that. After the recovery we were making, I was hoping we'd be able to walk away with at least a few points, but it was not meant to be. Next up is Saudi Arabia though, and I'm pretty confident that we can get a good recovery there. But that is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe, and yeah, hopefully I will see you in the next one.